So what are your thoughts? Did the mistress manipulate the situation? Was Chris capable of orchestrating his own actions? I see both sides. On one hand, he seemed like a complete fool who couldn't pull it all together to save his own life. He would have needed to have a mastermind. But on the other hand, he did commit heinous acts which require a certain level of evil. So I don't know. Let's explore this further. I'm going to roll some credits while we wait for the rest of the Watts Island boaters to arrive. Shout out to my replay crew and my Dragonflies. Did you have a good Christmas, my loves? Be sure to give this live a thumbs up. Helps me go out into the algorithm party out there. Bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the sexy empanada, Nicole Kessinger. New evidence that is revealing that Nicole Kessinger's involvement. I don't know if it's true or not, but we're going to look into it. What do you guys think? Do you think she was involved? I flip-flop. Sometimes I'm like, yes, she was involved. And then other times I'm like, well, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. And then other times I'm like, yes, she was involved. So let's see where I'll be after this. So what we do here is we will put the link to everything we view during this live down in the YouTube show notes. Often I will speed things up. I'll talk over it. I won't show everything its entirety. I do this for fair play use, but never you fear. We always cite our sources here. So this is Behind Criminal Minds. They do seem to do a lot of Watts stuff, and they seem to be doing this deep dive series. Chris Watts' new evidence reveals Nicole Kessinger's involvement.
Chris Watts' former cellmate Dylan Tallman released a new book series that claimed Nicole Kessinger was directly involved in the crimes that Watts committed on August 13th, 2018.
My name is Dylan Tallman. And my DOC number is 504789. And Chris Watts is my brother and my co-author.
Tallman's books offer new insight into the potential motivations and mindset of Chris Watts, providing us the first detailed accounting of Kessinger's purported influence leading up to the crimes. With the books even going on to assert Nicole's alleged involvement in the crimes themselves, making the claim that she was present at Survey 319 the morning of August 13th. In today's video, we will continue our deep dive analysis through the timeline of events, relying on the primary evidence and supported facts surrounding the case. And after providing you with a clear picture of what we know happened, we will contrast the evidence against the backdrop of Tallman's version of events, leaving it to you to decide if his new claims ring true, with the ongoing hope that as we continue to uncover each layer of the evidence, that justice will soon have its day. This is In Search of the Truth, part 2 of the Chris Watts Deep Dive series. When we last met, we revisited the final 2 weeks leading up to the morning of August 13th, 2018. The discovery records provided insight into the trials and tribulations that Shanann faced during that time, as she desperately tried to find a way to restore a marriage that Chris was already bound and determined to destroy. But just out.
Okay, so it looks like I'm coming into a part 2, but it doesn't look like it matters because hopefully at the end of this, they will wrap it up like they said they would.
Hours after Chris would enact his cruel.
Be sure to give this live a thumbs up. It helps us go out into the algorithm, party out there, bring more people back. It's just a free way to help me out.
And unfathomable crimes. His vain attempts at secrecy would unravel under the weight of Shanann's family and friends, who from the very beginning would not relent. They were determined to hold Chris Watts accountable for the truly monstrous acts that he had already committed. But it's in this retrospective that we remember and affirm that no victim deserves the crimes perpetrated against them, and no amount of influence.
Let's see if I can move us forward to get us more towards the end where we want to be, because I have a few more videos I want to look at as well. This isn't our only video tonight.
Absent of any meaningful contrition for his actions, was about to be put on full display the evening of August 13th, when he would get on the phone with Nicole Kessinger for the last and final time. In 2015, I underwent a major spine surgery after a serious car accident that completely totaled my vehicle. Just days after my surgery, the insurance adjuster called to tell me that they would not be covering the cost of my expensive surgery. Despite the fact that I had provided the insurance company everything that they had asked for, and the fact that the accident wasn't my fault, the adjuster made the decision that my medical bills would not be covered. One of the dark secrets about many insurance companies is that they will go to great lengths to avoid paying you what your case is worth, and away from potentially changing. Just after 9:48 on August 13th, the day of the crime, Chris Watts called Nicole Kessinger, and the two would initially speak for about 50 minutes. 30 minutes later, Nicole would call Chris this time, and they would speak for 52 minutes. Later that night, from 12:08 to 2:18 a.m., the two would speak off and on for an additional 54 minutes. And to those counting, that would mean that from 9:48 p.m. until 2:18 a.m., a span of just about 6 hours, Chris and Nicole spoke for a combined total of 2 hours and 36 minutes. And just wait.
And so I'm always, this what makes me lean towards she did something, because, and yet she couldn't remember 2 hours and 36 minutes of conversation, but she can remember their conversation from 6 weeks ago or whatever.
Wait till you hear what Nicole Kessinger says when she's asked to recall their discussion that evening.
On Monday night, so a couple things. I told you he had texted me, and then at the end of the night, he had called, or I called. I think he called me, but either way, we were on the phone with each other. And at some point when we were on the phone, he was like, do you want to FaceTime? And I remember I was laying in bed, and I was just like, you know what? Okay, let me turn on the light. And I remember I turned on the light, and we FaceTimed. And when we FaceTimed, he didn't really say much. It was almost kind of awkward. I don't even know why I didn't think of this earlier, but it was very short too. It was super brief. And I remember
what's short?
What is short about 2 hours and 36 minutes? That's like torture for me to be on the phone for that long.
Short, like a couple of minutes or 30 minutes?
Oh no, I thought it was only probably less than 5 minutes. I think it was only a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Now, without context, listening to Nicole's interviews with Detective Kobach can be so deceptively benign. If you didn't know the details surrounding that evening and everything leading up to it, if all you heard was her talking about her conversations with Chris that night, I could understand why many people made the wrong first impression and assumed that she was not involved. But as they say, the devil's in the details. So let's keep listening.
I think we were talking a little bit, but he was laying down on a mattress that didn't have any sheets on it. And I was like, okay. So I was thinking well, maybe he's in bed. I don't know what's up. But I remember asking him where's your sheets, And he's like, oh, I washed them.
If she were involved in it, she would know that he was washing them because what happened on the bed. So I just think it's just a weird and very elaborate thing to include, just out of the blue. Oh yeah, now I remember he was laying on the bed with no sheets on it. Why? If I don't know.
And then this is the part I don't remember if this sentence right here came in the FaceTime conversation or if it came in a phone conversation prior to the FaceTime conversation. But regardless, this next sentence came on Monday night, and I'm so sorry that I cannot always remember chronological every little detail.
That's okay. It's understandable.
There's so much. But I remember he was saying that he was cleaning the house to try to keep busy, to take his mind off of things. And this was on the phone.
So far, Nicole has successfully deflected Kevin Kobach's questioning by insinuating something sinister surrounding Chris's laying on his bed without his bed sheets. She knows that it implies that he was up to no good, but she also knows that she spoke with Chris for nearly 3 hours, and there's something else she's hiding about the morning of the 14th.
I guess that's a point. If she is the mastermind and she's thinking ahead, then yeah, that makes him look really bad. Like it really seems like what nefarious went on that bed, right? So yeah, that's a good point.
She's praying Detective Kobach won't bring up.
I didn't honestly think that much about it originally because that man is always cleaning. Like he's very, very like organized, meticulous, clean individual. Like he's the type of guy that will like vacuum his whole house one week, and if there's rooms that don't get used, he'd vacuum again the next week just because.
Yeah, like this whole situation, I feel like you can like read it one way, but then you can come right behind it and be like, oh, but why did he do this? Like, is he the mastermind or isn't he the mastermind? Is he just an idiot flying blind, or what is he? I don't know. But wash the kid sheets, but not his, and the pillow slip. Strange. And then threw some away. But maybe he threw the ones away when he was doing the quick dash around the house while they were all waiting outside. I don't know.
It's like part of his routine.
Okay.
So the fact that he's like cleaning to kill time and take his mind off things did not seem like a super red flag to me.
Every time that Nicole Kessinger is trying to deflect, every time that she is attempting to subvert the truth, she accomplishes this very much like a magician. In one hand, she provides you with a distracting story that very likely has elements of the truth, while at the same time using the other hand to hide whatever it is she doesn't want law enforcement to see. Nicole's comments about Chris doing laundry and the bed sheets sounds incredibly contrived because, again, she's still hoping that Kevin Kobach will not find the one thing that she cannot explain. And I'm not sure if you've noticed yet, but she has still yet to describe what they've talked about in any demonstrable detail.
So anyways, so that didn't seem like the norm for me, but something that just kind of like dawned on me last night is he made a comment directly after that. He said, I have to wash the kids' sheets. He was like, they smelled. And I was thinking about that last night, and I'm like, this man keeps that house so clean. That's like the cleanest house I've ever seen. And I'm like, this man keeps that house so clean. Why would his kids' sheets smell bad?
And you think this was Monday night? What time do you think it was Monday night?
Oh God, I don't even know. I almost wish you guys would show me my phone.
So I'm gonna read off your phone calls for Monday.
Oh my God, I just wish you would help me. I'm losing track of all my lies. Just show me.
And Tuesday, starting.
No, it's on Monday.
Okay,
just
so
Monday night.
Monday night, you guys had. We talked about a phone call yesterday, but you guys had a phone call Monday night. It looks like he called you. It was 48 minutes and 57 seconds. It was at 9:48 p.m. that he called you. So that would take us to about 10:35. And then there's another call on Monday. It's for 51 minutes and 25 seconds. It looks like, I'm not sure looking at this who called who, but it looks like you called him. And that was at 11:09 p.m. That lasted 51 minutes. So that takes us to midnight. And then there's another phone call where he calls you. So we're now into midnight, Tuesday morning. It's a 30-minute phone call that lasts.
Well, I just meant like the sheets that he threw away. Because remember when they were searching the house, there were some sheets that they found wherever he threw them. I just think it's weird that he didn't wash them the night that he was washing everything else. Like, why didn't he just left them left them thrown away?
Until 12:38 a.m. And then after 12:38 a.m., there's a 2-minute and 44-second phone call that that starts at 1:12 a.m. It's 2 minutes and 44 seconds.
These are the words of a seasoned professional of deception and deceit. Nicole knows exactly what she said during those phone calls with Chris. We know she does because she will later provide law enforcement with a detailed, exhaustive timeline of the entirety of her relationship with Chris, providing painfully accurate details about events that had occurred weeks and months earlier. But the phone calls Nicole and Detective Kobach are discussing right now just happened 4 days prior. And the reason why this moment matters so much is because of what was happening at 2:07 a.m. the morning of August 14th. Now, I want you to listen to Nicole's answer clearly and without interruption. It's long, but it's important because this is the one and only time that Nicole provides a reconciliation of those conversations And remember, what you're about to hear satisfied law enforcement, CBI, the FBI, and DA Michael Rourke as a sufficient answer concerning what they discussed for 156.
Before we go into this, I just want to say this is all alleged, all for entertainment and educational purposes. My research, we urge you to go out there and do your own research. And so, yeah, we've got to say that.
6 minutes, less than 24 hours after Chris Watts committed his crimes.
So
I would almost, this is just me, but I would go get my text messages with him from that night, and I would sync them up to that time frame, because there was texting in between that. So I think what happened is he called me on that first call, and then there's that gap between the first call and the second call. In that gap, that was when we FaceTimed for a few minutes, and that was when I got up out of bed because I was just having trouble sleeping, and I went and did laundry. That's what I did. I went I just put some clothes in the dryer, and then I think I called him back, and then we continued to talk. So that little gap right there between those two big phone calls at the very beginning of the night, not the very beginning of the night, but the big ones of the first two. So in between that gap, there's a quick FaceTime.
So do you think that 2 minute and 44-second is the FaceTime?
The one at the very end?
Yeah. Well, so there's
I don't even think the FaceTime's on there.
Okay,
because the FaceTime occurred in between those two big phone calls. That
Okay. Okay.
Because it was one big phone call, and then there should have been a FaceTime, and the FaceTime's short. It's only a few minutes, and then there's probably just a few more minutes. And that's probably
there's a few more calls on Tuesday. So 112 is the 2 minute and 44-second call. That lasts till approximately 114, and then there's a long gap until 150. So another 45 or 35 minutes, and then there's a 7-minute phone call. That phone call lasts till 1:58 a.m. And then there's a 10-second phone call at 2:07 a.m. followed by I think he calls you and maybe leaves a voicemail or something, or you don't pick up. So there's a 10-second call, and then directly after that there's a 10-minute and 24-second phone call.
Oh. Okay, so I'm talking about the two at the very beginning of
the two long ones. And is that when he's talking about the kids'
yes,
sheets?
With the sheet. Okay, so yes. I will help you line this up. I almost want to just come in there and drop and drag all of my texts to where they were going.
And you know what? We may meet and do that here coming early next week.
Did you hear what just happened? Nicole was asked several times about her discussions with Chris during their nearly 3-hour-long phone call, and instead of answering the question, she offers to come down there and help fill in the gaps. And guess what? That never happened. But something very important did happen just before 2 a.m. that night of the 14th. While Nicole was speaking with Chris during the call that began at 1:51 a.m., minutes later at 1:58, Chris began receiving a number of phone calls from the Frederick Police Department. So Chris and Nicole got off the phone, and at 2:05 a.m., Chris returned Officer Ed Goodman's phone call from his work cell phone. But mere seconds later, Nicole Kessinger called Chris's cell phone and stayed on the call while Chris was being interviewed by Officer Goodman.
This is when they couldn't get through to Chris, and it's believed that the officer was on one phone and Nicole Kessinger was on the other listening, right?
Goodman. In the interview we have been listening to between Nicole Kessinger and CBI agent Kevin Kobach took place on the 17th of August, less than 4 days after Nicole eavesdropped on Chris's discussion with law enforcement. And it just happens to be the exact same phone call that would become the very last time that Nicole and Chris would speak again. But I have a question. Why would Nicole want to know what law enforcement was saying? If she was not involved in this crime in any way.
She didn't know anything about anything. Why would she be on the phone listening? It makes no sense at all. Hi, Heavenly. Hi, Cindy. And hi, James, by the way. Good to see everybody.
Then why would Chris have her on the other line listening in? Remember, Nicole would claim in her first in-person interview that she didn't even suspect Chris of anything until the following day. So knowing what you now know, listen to the very next thing Nicole Kessinger said as Detective Kobach began to press her about these calls.
Yeah, well, all those phone calls at the very end of that, night, that was me freaking out. Like, if you look at my text, a lot of that was like, I can't sleep, I'm really scared, where's your family? That was like me freaking out, and him calling to like try to reassure me, or me calling him like, please talk to me, I'm super scared, where's your family? Like, those little ones at the very end of the night are me not being able to sleep and trying to get him to like talk to me about like, and just, I guess, making sure everything was okay. So those like real late ones, and that's why they're all kind of like sporadic, because I'd be up for like an hour, and then I'd fall asleep for like 15 minutes, and then I would like wake up and start stressing again and try to call them back. Like, so that's why there are all these like little sporadic ones throughout the end of the night. But those two big ones.
Or you would remember
yesterday we
something.
talked about-
You would remember something and then call them back that you forgot to say, right? About the schmurders. Maybe it was that.
Tuesday was mainly text messages regarding your confrontation about his wife being pregnant.
Doesn't all of this start to make a lot more sense now? Because again, if Nicole Kessinger isn't involved,
I'm starting to think that this is going to be one of those ones where it's not really anything new. It's just a new way of looking at the old. So.
Then what would she have to be so scared of? Why is she unable to sleep? Why is she asking Chris to calm her down? If she wasn't involved, then what is she so panicked about? But it's probably not a surprise by now, because immediately after Nicole implicates herself by virtue of her reaction alone, Detective Kobach responds by completely changing the subject. Nicole Kessinger had spent the last 2 months gallivanting around with a man who she knew was married. She never once showed any concern over Shanann's well-being before. In fact, she outright refused to even say her name. But even more importantly than all of that combined is if Nicole was not involved, then she had no reason to suspect that anything had happened to Shanann or the girls during these initial calls.
Oh, shoot. Hold on a second. Sorry, guys, I hit the wrong button. If she truly believed that Shanann had just ran away, then she would have not been worried and made all those phone calls. I wouldn't think. She might be like celebrating and, telling them to come over to her house. I don't know.
Conducted her first in-office interview and previously said this.
Did that strike you as odd? But you're thinking maybe she just left.
I just thought she needed to like get away from the situation. I mean, that didn't seem that awkward to me that a couple that is going through separation would be like, I need to leave. I just need some space. Like, it didn't even like process. I was like, okay, like give her some space.
I really thought she left. I was like, let her fucking go.
No, it was hotter than heck around that time because Chris didn't want to go outside to look around the pool because it was so hot. You could tell. It was like, didn't he say it was like in the 90s or something?
Okay, she'll be all right. Let her cool down. She'll be here. It'll be okay. Like, have me convinced. Like, I think she's just upset. And then.
Baby, I'm dancing with you tonight. Here in the blue, I'm dancing and falling out, hoping for some time with you.